Laugh Factory Network.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Who am I? You sure you want to know?
What does that make us? Sidekicks?
It's the Trusty Sidekick podcast with your host, Jay Washington, Bobby Hill. What's happening, everybody? It's your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington here, with a special Trusty Sidekick interview, man. I've been trying to get this brother out here on this one way or another, but I couldn't do it. So he is in town for the NoHo Comedy Festival, and I figured might as well do a small exclusive interview with him right now. He is one of the hosts of the Geekshow podcast and the host of the incredible Vocal Minority podcast as well. Mr. Jay Whittaker in the building. What up, sir?
Hey, good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
What do you think this is, the Truman Show?
Yeah,
Good morning.
and
in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.
I'm kind of like that. When on Geekshow, I always say good morning because you never know when people are listening.
This is very true.
Good morning, good afternoon. So I always greet people. It's called fucking manners, dude.
Very true. Very
Can I
true.
say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
You say this.
Yeah, I'm not.
Our listeners have understood that if you listen to the Trusty Sidekick on a normal, with myself and the resident superhero Bobby Hill, we always tell people it's barbershop talk.
Yeah.
About nerd shit.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it real.
So we're gonna keep it 100 with you, and so it just make it real. So people are
Yeah.
like, yeah, we appreciate that. Like we were just talking about Martian Manhunter got to file his dad on his taxes on Super. Like, how do you file an alien daddy you ain't had for a minute? But it's Carl Lumbly, so you find a way.
There you know. I never even thought about that.
like you got to file your dad. You know,
like how does that even work? There's got to be.
John, I am considered independent. She lets me with the white Martians. So, man, you're out in Salt Lake City, Utah, man.
Yeah.
Salt Lake has actually, it's interesting we talk about it because Salt Lake has actually rung a couple of bells with their Comic-Con.
Yeah, it's also now, and it's not a Comic-Con, it is a FanX Comic-Con, or a Comic Convention. That's what it's now.
FanX Comic Convention.
Yes, that's
because that's what I said. They brought it when they were calling themselves Salt Lake Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Comic-Con based in San Diego was like, no, pump the brakes on that, fam. And you being involved in the geek culture heavily in Salt Lake, how was that?
Well, one, a lot of people don't know that Salt Lake City, Utah, and Utah in general is the nerdiest state per capita.
Really?
A lot of people don't know that, but it's a market. That's why when I first met you, I was like, you got to get out there.
Yeah, I remember that's what we were talking about.
Yeah, because I'm like, writers go there. I have a friend, J.L. Gribble. I'm gonna give a shout out to her. She's an author. She's out in Maryland. And I got her to we interviewed her on Geekshow podcast. Then next thing you know, she got invited out to what is formerly known as Salt Lake Comic-Con. And she's doing well selling books. So, I mean, it's just like there's such a captive geek audience. I mean, Battlestar Galactica, was it echoes Mormonism. There's the parallels to Mormonism culture. In Battlestar Galactica. So it's just one of those. So people sleep on Utah like, no, it's full of nerds. It's full of nerds. We had a steampunk convention.
Yo, I went back to Chicago a couple weeks ago to cover C2E2, the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, and I started seeing so many booths with steampunk.
Yeah.
And I was like, yo, I had to interview this one man who you can catch on my YouTube channel for C2E2 Day 1, I believe it was, from the show Bards and Broads. And I was like, what? How did this all come about? And he's like, well, it was always a thing back in the 1800s when technology was evolving. And I'm like, what brought the look on for everybody,
It should fly.
I mean, I ain't saying there's nothing wrong with it, but it's become a phenomenon, a wave of it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to hear that Salt Lake is doing it, that's dope. Now, Geekshow, man.
Yeah.
We talked about it. We didn't get full in depth about it. And I'm kind of glad we didn't because we get to do it here. We're going to do this real quick. So tell the listeners what Geekshow is about.
I always say it's like Wu-Tang Clan for geeks. And it's
Do you got a RZA and a Jizza?
Yeah, we have we actually talked about this on the episode, but it originally started, we're actually celebrating our 10th anniversary on May 27th.
Dope.
But the podcast has been around really for like 15 years, and it started with our host Kerry Jackson. He does a show called Radio from Hell, a morning show out there, and basically what it's all of his old buddies. And so one day I went on to promote one of my shows as a comic. You know, D.L. Hewley canceled because he had a book coming out or he postponed, whatever. And so I had to the comedy club bumped my show up to his date, and so I had to go on radio to promote the show. So that's how I met Kerry Jackson, and they noticed that I have a Deadpool tattoo on me, and I was wearing a tank top that day, just, you know, and they saw, so they're like, oh, this guy's a geek. So then they started realizing, like, yo, this guy knows the shit, and he's pretty funny, I guess. And so, like, I kept in good contact with him, and then eventually one of the members, Lee, he used to own a vegan restaurant. He's a vegan chef. He would be our Raekwon.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, like he would be our Raekwon. Carrie would be our definitely our RZA. Jeff Weiss, who was no longer with us, would be our Jizza. And then Shannon's our ODB. Me, I don't know.
Ghostface.
Yeah, I would say Ghostface.
Inspector Deck,
yeah.
You God, yo.
I would
who's
be,
the Method Man?
I would be a Ghostface because
Okay.
I am a storyteller.
Okay.
You know? Yeah, like, and Jimmy would definitely be our inspector. And and then Tony is our you God. That's so. But anyways, that I just went through. I kind of jumped ship. But Lee was unable to record that day, so they needed somebody to fill in. So I came in and filled in, and they just asked me to keep coming back. And then the next 5 years later, I'm celebrating, you know, my 5-year anniversary with the show.
Nice.
And it's opened up such a world. It's actually made me feel more comfortable as a geek because you grow up as a black nerd, or blurred, or a geekro, as I like to say.
A geek.
Geekro.
What?
That's my phrase.
What?
That's my phrase. That's always been. Yeah.
Okay. All right, man. So
Yeah. So.
Go ahead.
I coined the term geekro.
Yeah, you have to.
Yes.
That one. Shit.
And so, but yeah, like all those, you know, I grew up in L.A. and, you know, people wasn't really checking for brothers that was geeks, and so, but it made me feel more comfortable. And then I started realizing, you know, and reading all these different storylines, and then I'm like, man, this is dope. And so, and just part of geek culture made me find my own culture in a way, because, you know, I started reading Black Panther all over again, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and just like what my man has done there. So it's just like, and so it's weird how I kind of found my way with Geekshow, but it's given me a great platform. We have a lot of subscribers. We have listeners from all around the world. And how we found this out was I mentioned Jeff Weiss earlier. He was our Jizza. Like, the dude was like Rain Man with geek shit. Like, we didn't need a laptop or a computer to Google something because he knew it all. Like, random obscure shit. And so, but he had a heart attack. Or excuse me, an asthma attack, and passed away. He was about 40. He's 48, and when he died, our listeners were like, they were shocked, and so people we were trying to help his family take care of just funeral because it was so unexpected.
Of course.
And so then money started coming in to help with pay for his family's for the funeral. Money was coming from Peru. Money was coming from Germany. Money was coming from Tokyo. These were people that actually listened to the show, and they were writing us letters. We're like, oh shit, we didn't realize. We thought it was just a Utah regional, mountain region, Pacific pocket. No, a lot of people listen to this show, and it's a wonderful family to be a part of. And I didn't, we didn't realize that was like Jeff's last gift to us, was helping us realize we have a vast audience.
Yeah, wow.
And so that's why we're very proud to celebrate these 10 years, because it's been, I believe, 4 years since his passing, and the show has gotten better. We were doing YouTube videos for a minute. We kind of had to rethink some things, but it's like family, and it really is like family. Matter of fact, Jimmy is our resident film critic. He's the one that gets us all into the screening so we can see. He always brings the whole team, and Jimmy, he hit me up, and I had to send him this text today because I'm staying till Sunday in California. But the Millennium Falcon's going to be visiting. You know how they have the Millennium Falcon here I think it's here as we speak right now.
It should be, with Solo about to open up. I think so. Yeah.
But they're sending it to Salt Lake City. They're sending it to 4 different cities in the United States, and Salt Lake City is one of those states because they know their fucking market. And so he's got a costume rep that sends him costumes all the time. So of course, he's got his rep send him a Han Solo one.
So he's
and he sent him also a Lando one. So he's like, dog, we got to show up to the Millennium Falcon.
and you're like, I can't
make it, and I feel bad, but it's just like that was the original plan. So, but that's like family right there. So yeah, that's Geek Show in a nutshell. Like like just a nutshell. I always call it the Wu-Tang Clan for geeks.
You being a geek and the way things have come nowadays, are you a Marvel, DC, Image, Valiant? What guy?
Yeah, what got it for me was originally it was Spider-Man first, Deadpool second, and I fell out of Spider-Man. Like I still enjoy it, but it's really Deadpool. So I've always been a Marvel guy. I mean, I love DC. I love what they do. We've used you can almost finish this sentence. I love Marvel, and I love DC.
Just want to make good movies.
I do that. I will watch. I love a live action Marvel film, and I love a animated DC film.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just what it is, and but I love both franchises. I really got into Top Cow comics with Michael Turner's Darkness and Witchblade.
I think I heard of that. I gotta do some research. I know a lot of the listeners will heard. I know a lot of listeners like, yo, Jay, you don't. Yeah, don't judge me.
Don't judge. No, but I mean, like that one, Michael Turner before his passing, is like for his art. It to me is just otherworldly. I grew, but I wanted to draw comics as a kid. That's right. I grew up with Calvin and Hobbes, Bill Watterson. I used to write letters to him when I was 8 years old and say I want to do this, and then I remember buying the Stan Lee How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way book and all the Christopher Hart instruction books on how to draw comics. Yeah. So that was me. That's what I wanted to do. A comedian, James Davis. James Davis from
Hood Adjacent.
Hood Adjacent. Yeah, we went to grade school together, and we used to draw comics as kids. We used to come because when we're mid-30s, so it's like. Fighting games were all the jam. So we came up with our own fighting game, and we had all these characters that we drew, and like it was crazy. We used to draw heroes every day. Yeah. And so I just loved it. I got into it as a kid, but Marvel first, DC second, and I don't know where Top Cow eventually. I think it got absorbed, but Darkness and Witchblade. Okay. Yeah, that was like my shit.
With being in Salt Lake City and now knowing how big the culture is, how much has that changed your life? Do people notice you now like, yo, you're the dude from Geek?
It's trippy because not out here, but especially.
I'm talking about in Salt Lake.
But especially in Salt Lake, you hear voices like they're like, I know your voice. Where's it from? And then I'll start talking random, and they notice the T-shirt I usually got on, like some sort of geek T-shirt, and they're like, are you Jay? And I'm like, yeah. And they're like, cool. But we have a saying on the show that says Geekshow says hey. So I'll be walking around town, and it happens in LA sometimes. It may happen tonight if somebody because the show is tweeting out that I'm here. Yeah. So we have a special rep from Disneyland. We call him Agent Z. Agent Z from Disneyland. He's out here. He may pay a visit, but we get every now and then we'll be traveling random places. Kerry was in Orlando, Florida, Disney World, visiting with his family, and he all of a sudden heard a Geek Show says hey, and so like, that's what our fans yell, and we say hey, it's just and that's just it.
That's nice.
And so it's just one of those things that you always keep your head on the swivel. I'm never expecting it, but it's just like when you hear it, you're like, oh shit, we have listeners here. Yeah, it's so trippy.
I'm gonna tell you something. The first time when we started doing this, I didn't think much of it. I'll tell Bobby all the time, like, we're just talking about what we normally talk about. When I got the opportunity to start going on the various networks, I was like, yo, I'm just being able to do this and just hopefully pump up the podcast. When I went to my first LA Comic-Con, and somebody stopped me and was like, yo, aren't you Jay Washington? Yeah. I was like, yeah. It was like, yo, I'm a fan. I was like,
that's trippy.
But because I was a wrestler for 15 years, everybody knows. So I got kind of used to some fans from that, but this whole new aspect of being able to talk about my nerddom that I've had since I was a kid, and people latching on and becoming fans because that was dope. Now let me switch gears a little bit to the incredible Vocally Minority podcast. Tell me about that one, and how did the concept of that come about?
Okay, the concept is actually it actually comes from when there was a controversy, when there was a slight controversy with Salt Lake what is formerly known as Salt Lake Comic Con. They were going to bring Orson Scott Card to the Comic Con or to Utah, and because he's from interesting,
right.
like he's from I think he grew up Mormon, and so there's controversy because of his opinions and against the LGBTQIA plus community, and so there was the article that I read about like that how people were expressing their discontent for that. They said an incredibly vocal minority has expressed that they don't want. And that's what I felt like, because I live in Salt Lake City where it's 1% black. Like Utah is 1%. The entire state is basically 1% black, and that's an 2%, and that's an improvement from when I first moved there, and it was 0.08. So, but I'm a member of the Black Lives Matter chapter in Utah, and we have to be incredibly vocal minorities,
right?
Because it's just like, but at the same time, I don't like, I kind of pigeonhole myself the whole minority. It can be off-putting, but I think that we all are. I think that generally everybody, not just people of color, not just people of the LGBTQIA plus community, but it just everybody in this day and age is fighting for something,
right?
And so in order to we have the power of media at literally our fingertips now.
Yes. And
so you have to be incredibly vocal to make change. And so it's kind of like a loose. It's kind of like we do Geekshow. It's very fun and friendly, and it's about all geek. It's very geek related. It's usually like 20 to 30 minutes of just me talking about what my opinions on the geek community and what's happening, things I'm more partial to, because when you have 6-7 people on the show, you got to pick your spot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So now this is just kind of like the extra added scenes of just like, and then just maybe social commentary of what's going on. Recently tried not to talk about Kanye. I talk about dope stuff and woke stuff. That's really what it is.
I like that.
And we do a word and bird of the day. I'm a bit like, I know it's weird, but I love birds. I used to go to the aviary and bird sanctuaries a lot as a kid, and I go to the Tracy Aviary, which is in downtown Salt Lake City. I go there often, and I just love birds. So I do a word and bird of the week, so to help expand your vocabulary. This week's words as we record this is oleaginous. Yes,
oleaginous.
Oleaginous.
Okay,
it's basically when your shit's oily as fuck. Your face is oily.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I probably screwed that word up. Whatever. at me on Twitter. And then I just talk about birds, and so I give you information about birds that you may not have ever known, and that's just what it is.
It's nice the way you say how both of those apply, because definitely with the LGBTQIA plus community being so inclusive in the geek community, it was the geek community was their safe haven.
Yeah.
And now because we know more about them, we're now accepting them fully, which we should have been doing. Right. And there are still those who are adamantly against it. Let's just say that. They're adamantly against it. And for you to be able to be that voice, that reckoning, because people relate to you and they already attach themselves to you, is a great thing. Going forward, what do you see happening for Geekshow?
Geekshow, I mean, we're getting ready to celebrate our 10-year anniversary. I think we're going to do 10 more. I mean, it's really a community. Like, we're not even doing an episode for this for our 10th year. It's a party. We like partying. We invited all our fans and of the show that live locally and just said, hey, come party with us. Because, like, we've gotten letters from fans, and they always say, like, hey, sometimes we just want to have a drink with you, and just chill. Mm-hmm. And so now we're going to play games, we're going to dance, we're going to drink, and just...
Nice.
And it's like one of those, like, it's not going to be an episode. So if you miss it...
You're missing the party. You're not missing the episode.
Yeah, it's like, so if you weren't there, you just got to come out. And so it's...
Justice League thoughts right now.
Justice League thoughts... I think...
I just want to catch people off guard.
No, it's fine. Going. You know what I realized is Green Lantern. Ryan Reynolds' Green Lantern could have saved that whole... Could have made this...
Ryan Reynolds as Green Lantern or the film?
The film. Not Ryan Reynolds did his part. In my personal opinion, he was just stuck behind that story. Yeah. But I mean, like, think about... Because before that, you had our Batmans, but like...
We had our Supermans.
But yeah. But... Iron Man, what Marvel did started with Iron Man, and he's never an A or B lister. He was like kind of a C.
Yes, he was.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
Iron Man was a very ancillary character.
Yeah,
he was very. He was. But a lot of people.
Yeah, it's like, but now he's an A-list guy.
Yes, he is.
And so they started with that and eased us and got us to there. And I think
you could have done that with Green.
I think they could have did that with Green Lantern. Or really, the person they should have started with, Flash. You know, if they would have. And so, I just think it bothers me because people can blame Superman and Batman and all these, Martha, all that shit. You can blame all those things. On Justice League, but I think the blame truly starts with Green Lantern.
You know what's crazy about that? I hadn't done research on this in a while, and I had to do some research. Two people who I am very much fond of what they do on the television element are responsible for Green Arrow. Greg Berlanti and Mark Guggenheim.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait, what? Because everyone who knows me knows I love Arrow, Flash, Legends. I am the biggest advocate for Black Lightning.
Yeah.
And it's like,
it's a great show.
It's like, oh, so you had to have your trip ups in a sense to get it right.
Right.
And I agree with you on that. And the reason I did it, I know people are like, oh, you're trying to diss Justice League. No, because a lot of people have great thoughts on it that we don't get to hear.
And I still saw that movie, and I still like it. I still like it. There's parts I don't like, but there was the I hate saying this, not as a diss, but there was the marvel about it. I actually marveled.
No, I understand what you're saying.
I marveled. I was like, oh shit, when they snuck Green Lantern, because Green Lantern's my guy. And
I was mad. I was kind of upset at that.
Yeah.
I was upset at that tease because I wanted more of the Lantern. I didn't need the Lantern in a flashback. Because basically it's Abin Sur dying.
Of course.
And then we see the ring leave.
Right.
But now it's left us so open because we have to wait to either Green Lantern Corps or whatever they do.
Right.
So that was just me.
Yeah, no, I get you. But it was like, wow, I got to see everyone head up against Superman for a hot minute. I mean, like, it was, we live in a great time where you could see that. Where you could see a Justice League movie. Where you could see, as you say, Joker with the cash money is taking over for the 99 to 2,000 teeth. I mean, we live in that time. And I've as we record this, I have seen Solo, I have seen Deadpool 2, and I'm just like, going into Solo, I was like, I am coming off of seeing a Black Panther movie, Thanos, or as I say, Thanos, Deadpool sequel, and now I'm about to watch a movie about Han Solo. And I'm like, what a time to be alive as a geek.
I don't think people appreciate it.
Yeah.
But somebody brought up a post that said, just this summer alone, not to dismiss Black Panther, because that was in February.
Yeah.
Just this summer alone, you've gotten the biggest Avengers movie in history.
Yeah.
Deadpool sequel, Solo. You're about to get The Incredibles 2.
Yeah.
Then Ant-Man and the Wasp. So it's like
and you're like, who could, like, what the
who would have ever imagined?
Yeah.
Going forward, I want to talk real quick about films so we can get up out of here. Aquaman.
I'm excited to see it. I'm always just like, there's one thing I've learned is just show me what you got.
Okay.
I kind of have that Rick and Morty, show me what you got. You know,
I have my thoughts on Aquaman. I've always said this, and it's not a bad thought.
Yeah.
I've always said Jason Momoa is not playing Aquaman.
Yeah.
Jason Momoa is playing Jason Momoa playing Aquaman.
But it
works.
It works.
It works. I'm just saying it's nothing bad about it, but it's him being himself.
Yeah.
As a dude who's a king of underwater.
Right.
You know. So I trust James Wan's vision.
Yeah, I just at this point I'm just like, show me what you got. I mean, it's because we could pick these movies apart, and we will.
Yes,
we will. But it's just like, I still enjoyed that someone said. I still enjoy, and I genuinely appreciate that someone said, you know what? Here's the story that some of you guys may like, maybe a small portion of you like. I'm gonna try my best to make this story that you guys love and grew up with, and make it something known. And that's how James Gunn succeeded on telling
the Guardians of the Galaxy,
which was a C- story at best.
I remember and I want to wrap this up pretty soon, but I remember when the tone came out, when the word came out, that Guardians was going to be put into production.
Yeah.
I remember telling everybody and anybody who would listen to me,
Yeah.
if Guardians is successful, Marvel can do anything.
And I remember, I remember, yes, I'm 100%, because we went to the press, they had like a little press, and they showed you 17 minutes of the film, and they show you basically leading up to how they broke out of the
nowhere.
Yeah,
the Clink. I'm sorry, the Clink.
Yeah, the Clink. Yeah. And so that's what they showed us, like maybe a few months before the movie premiered, and we walked out of there, and I'm like, I want to see that fucking movie.
Who knew?
And that's what really launched it. So I mean, like, it's just like I live in a time now where I'm just like, all right, Aquaman movie, show me what you got.
Listen, we're getting to the point now with not just the movies, but because of those TV shows, DC streaming site is giving us Titans.
Yeah,
and it's not the Teen Titans that
Yeah.
you see in the cartoon. They say this is dark.
Yeah,
and from
we're getting Outsiders too.
We're getting the Outsiders, and we're getting Doom Patrol.
Yeah, I mean, like. The thing is,
also never forget we're getting New Gods coming up and the Eternals. So
this shit makes me want to get my shit together.
All these out the box concepts that you had to be a deep nerd to read the comic books about, because one film worked. One film.
Yeah,
they're like, give it all.
Give it all, because they know. Well, one, they see dollar signs.
Oh, they see absolutely see.
They're
dollar.
like, oh, so wait. I mean, all we have to do is make one of these movies
and make it look good and make the story right,
and then we put their merchandise in Hot Topic or online, and
and make a Funko Pop.
Yeah,
like. But hey, man, I can keep talking with you about this all day, as always, man. Before I let you go, I want you to tell people how they can get in touch with you, how they can check out Geekshow, as well as the
Incredibly Vocal Minority. I know it's a lot to say,
but it's worth it. Incredibly Vocal Minority Podcast.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
Just follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at It's Jay Whittaker. That's Jay. Last name is Whiskey Hotel Indigo Tango Tango Alpha Kilo Echo Romeo. And follow me there. Follow us at Geekshow. That's it. Just Geekshow, one word. And then Geekshow Podcast at the IVM Podcast. That's what I call it for short.
That makes
the IVM Podcast.
Because you couldn't get a Twitter handle that damn long.
Shit, hell no.
Twitter would have to charge
I ran out of characters.
Incredibly. You done.
So, but I mean, Jay, thank you for just even having me come by and do this. Let's go do a set today.
Hey, man, let's go tell these jokes, man. As always, you can find me on Twitter, Instagram at Mr. J Washington, MrJaywashington. Check out the Trusty Sidekick Podcast on iTunes, where you're listening to everywhere your podcast. Find us on Twitter at Sidekick Trusty Sidekick Pod on Instagram. You want to email us, trustysidekicpod@gmail.com. This is something special, and I'm doing this for you guys. I'm releasing this fully. I'm going to do much more exclusive content like this, but it's only coming to our Patreon.
Ooh.
So you have to go to our Patreon link. It is on the Trusty Sidekick homepage. You can see the link says Patreon. Become a patron. Become a sidekick with us. Also, if you're in the higher tier of our patrons, you will get. I do a lot of animation, a lot of cartoons, a lot of drawings. I'm laminating those and sending those out to special patrons who make sure they involve themselves in those tiers. So do that. Also, follow our resident superhero, Bobby Hill, at Mocha_Jesus. Check out It's Bobby Hill. Yes, it's Mocha_Jesus. Check out itsbobbyhill.com for all his things. Man, with that being said, I will holler at you guys a little bit later. Jay Whittaker, thanks for stopping by, hollering at your boy. Take care. I'm out of here. Peace.
Laugh Factory Network.